glory. After all, he's the one you're going to have to turn to. He's going to be the only one you can turn to in times like this. Here's the next prediction. When these oil-producing countries of the world that based their economy on $147 a barrel, and now that it's $50 a barrel and below, fluctuating around it, when they can no longer purchase the interest on the national debt of the United States of America, $12 trillion admitted to, a lot more, of course, but $12 trillion national debt, and someone must pay the interest on that debt. Who's been doing it for all these years? Well, China, yes. Oil-producing countries of the world, yes. Japan, yes. And they use the American dollar as the reserve currency of the world. They all kept it for a rainy day. Now, what pays the interest on the national debt? These nations buy, the Treasury of the United States of America issues notes, and the Federal Reserve issues bills and securities. And this basically pays the interest on the national debt of the United States of America. Now, when that debt is no longer paid, when that interest on that debt is no longer purchased by these who have plenty of money to buy, and the reason they bought Treasury bills is because it was the safest security on the face of the earth.
That's right.
Everybody knew that the American Treasury bill would maintain itself regardless of what all the other currencies in the world did, and as a result, they have flocked to America over the past 50 to 75 years and bought our Treasury notes because they knew they were stable, and they called it reserve currency. It was like money in the bank. It was a rainy day protection. Now, since they don't have the money to buy these Treasury bills anymore and the Federal Reserve issues, what happens to the American dollar? Okay, here it is, the next prediction. 6 months, 9 months, maximum 1 year from now, you are going to pay the piper. The chickens are coming home to roost. Your $50 a barrel crude oil, you are going to bemoan the day that it ever went there. Mm-hmm. You're going to whoosh for $4 a gallon gasoline again so that those countries could buy the interest on the national debt mm-hmm. of the United States of America, because when the nations of the world get the message, and they're getting it, and they're getting it fast. Look how many of them are buying megatons of gold and getting out of the dollar and scuttling the dollar so rapidly. And mark my words, this gentleman said to me, I'm going to quote him exactly as he said it, because I don't dare try to put it in my words. He said to me, he said, Chaplain Williams, America will see a financial collapse that will be so great that it will take years to come out of it. Now, why is that going to happen? Because these oil-producing countries of the world who have bought the interest on the national debt of the United States of America can no longer buy it. They can't even maintain their own economies now. They're having to do everything possible to keep their subjects in line under them so the sheikhs and sheiks and others will not be deposed. And when the nations of the world get the message that the dollar is on its collapse and that we no longer are being able to pay the interest on that national debt, you are going to see exactly what this man told me would happen, and I'll repeat it again. America will see a financial collapse that will be so great that it will take years to come out of it. And when I realized that Saudi Arabia said $80 a barrel, or we are in trouble, and now we've seen it come to pass. It's actually been announced on the Dow Jones news wires. And mark my words, folks, you better enjoy that $1.50 a gallon at the gas pump. I mean, soak it up, enjoy it, put it in that SUV, drive it for everything you're worth, have a good time, take that long trip you wanted to take. But likewise, you better prepare. You best prepare for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the line, because they were not doing you a favor when they dropped it to $50 a barrel. They were doing it for the sole purpose of bringing about the collapse that we're going to see in the American economy, which has already had its beginning.
Right.
Now,
America's going to default on its debts is what's going to happen.
Yes, that's exactly right, Jeff. You used the perfect words right there. Now, people are saying to me everywhere, oh, Jeff, you cannot imagine the phone calls I've had over the past 2 weeks. I went in the health food store today to buy some groceries and for the family, and sitting on the counter was a blood pressure tester. Mm-hmm. And I said, what's that thing? And the lady said, go ahead, put it around your arm and test your blood pressure and see what it is. Mm-hmm. And when she took my blood pressure, she said, Chaplain, you're a little bit high. And I said, you know why? She said, I know what you do. She has seen my DVDs and my CDs. And the person behind the counter said, Chaplain, you better quit taking to heart all these things that people are telling you. I said, no. I said, I was a minister of a pastor of a church for 12 years. I was a missionary in Alaska for all those years. I said, people are my business. I said, when you get the phone calls like I've had for the past few weeks where people, a lady called me the other day, she was weeping over the telephone. A family called me from Canada the day before yesterday and said, our family just broke up because of the financial problems we're having.
Oh, wow.
Jeff, some of the things that have come my way in the past 2 weeks because of my ministerial background. Right. One radio talk show host the other day, Jeff, I couldn't believe it. If I named him, you'd immediately know who I was talking about, but I'm not going to. He actually, over the air, said, Chaplain, you've got to counsel with me right now on the air. I couldn't believe it. Right over the air. He said, Chaplain, please help me. He said, these things are bothering me so bad. He said, would you please tell me, what can I do? Well, I'm going to read it to you. Now, Jeff just said the American economy, America, is going to default on its debt. That is exactly what's going to happen, what they have planned, exactly what that man told me. Mm-hmm. Now you say, what is a result going to be? I'm going to read it to you. Approximately 3 months ago, the country of Iceland declared bankruptcy.
Hold on right there, Linz. This is very important because the template has been created. It's there, and we can look at that template. And we'll do that with Lindsey Williams in just a minute. This is, if nothing else, as horribly bad as our times are and as worse than today that they're going to get, I guess you could say it's not boring. It's certainly dynamic, and it's certainly moving at very fast speeds. But keep in mind, this is not moving in a helter-skelter fashion. This is all moving according to a plan, which has been around for a long time. And we shall continue with Lindsey in just a minute. Dollar, of course, in trouble around the world. It is still, at this moment, approximately representative of 80% of the world's reserve currency, although that is certainly eroding very rapidly, more so in some areas than others. When the United States defaults on its debts, when no one is buying treasuries anymore to pay that, this whole thing is insane. It all has to come down. It will come down. And ultimately what will happen, of course, is the actual wealth of the world, which is now in such flux, will be concentrated into the hands of fewer and fewer people, which is the design. That's what this is about. Go ahead, Lindsey, please.
Approximately 3 months ago, the country of Iceland defaulted. They declared bankruptcy for all practical purposes. And
they couldn't get any more credit. They were finished. Right.
Yeah. So today, what is happening? People are continually asking me, okay, $50 a barrel, already the Arab world is beginning to show a crack. What is going to happen in America? The best way to describe it is to give a living example. I would like to read you just a few sentences here of what's happening in Iceland approximately 3 months after they have declared bankruptcy, defaulted, so to speak. The 300,000 inhabitants of Reykjavik, Iceland are stunned how fast their standard of living has dropped. Overnight, people lost